I'm going to tell you something that might make you laugh. That's okay. I'm used to it. At 70 years old, I got married for the second time. I put on a dress, went down to City Hall, and signed the papers. My daughter was against it. My son looked at me like I'd lost my mind. My friend Martha asked me, "Ann, you're 70. Have you finally gone crazy?" The neighbors whispered behind my back. But as I slipped that ring onto my finger, I thought, good Lord, this feels wonderful. My name is Ann Miller. I'm 89 years old. I've been married twice. The first time lasted 35 years. The second, 19 years. And I'll tell you the truth, the second marriage was better, much better. Even though it started at 70, everyone said I was out of my mind, but let me tell you how it actually happened. Get comfortable. My first husband, George, was a good man. He didn't drink, he wasn't a gambler, and he worked hard. My friends used to say, "You're lucky. George is like a stone wall." And it was true. He was a stone wall, reliable, solid, and cold. We spent 35 years together. We raised 2 children. We went to the coast 4 times in our entire lives. He loved silence, the news on TV, and being left alone. I loved to talk, to laugh, and to go places. We lived side by side, each in our own world, and we never fought. We just existed. When he passed away, I was 63. I cried, of course. 35 years is a lifetime. No, somewhere deep inside, in the quietest corner of my heart, there was another feeling. I couldn't put a name to it at first. Later, I called it the void. Not a void left by his passing, but the realization that the void had always been there. It had just been invisible. For the next 7 years, I lived alone. My children were grown, with their own families and their own busy lives. They'd visit on holidays and call on Sundays for 10 minutes. Never more. Everyone is busy. Everyone has a life. I'm not complaining. They're good kids. It's just that they had their lives, and I had my silence. Loneliness in old age isn't like the movies. In films, an old woman sits by a window watching a beautiful sunset. It's all very poetic. In real life, you get a 102-degree fever and there's no one to ask for a glass of water. In real life, on New Year's Eve, the kids call at midnight to say, "Happy New Year," hang up, and you're left sitting there alone with the TV. I spent 7 years getting used to that silence. I thought, this is just how it ends. I thought it was too late to change anything. Then came John. We met in the waiting room at the cardiologist's office. The most romantic place on earth, right? He was sitting there reading the paper. I pulled out my knitting. I always bring it along so I don't waste time. He looked up and asked, "What are you making?" "Socks for my grandson," I said. He chuckled. "My grandson won't wear socks. It's all sneakers and no-shows for them these days." And we laughed. We just laughed together. It seems like such a small thing, but I hadn't laughed like that, effortlessly, for no reason, in years. I'd forgotten how. We started talking. He was a widower, too, a retired engineer who loved fishing and mystery novels. Just an ordinary, kind man. We kept bumping into each other, at the grocery store, then at the park. We started saying hello, then stopping to chat. Then he brought me some apples from his garden. I baked a pie and invited him over. It was simple. No grand speeches, no fancy restaurants. Just 2 people who enjoyed each other's company and laughed at the same jokes. A year later, he said, "Ann, let's get married." I said, "John, don't you think it's a bit late for us?" He replied, "It'll be late when we're dead. As long as we're breathing, it's not too late. That was that. My daughter was the first to call. Mom, is this a joke? What will people think? Did you think about us? I told her, Sarah, I spent my whole life thinking about you. Now I'm thinking about myself. She didn't call me for 2 weeks. My son said, Mom, he's probably just after your house. I told him, Stephen, you're the one looking at my house. John is the one looking at me. He didn't bring up the house again. The neighbors whispered, and my friends thought I'd lost it. I just nodded and kept planning my wedding. Do you know why I didn't listen? Not just because I'm stubborn, though I am. It's because I realized something. Those people don't have to live my life. Only I do. John and I had 19 years together. He passed away 5 years ago. His heart gave out, but it was quick. I was right there with him. You might think 19 years isn't much, but it was. It was a lifetime. He took me to see the Mediterranean for the first time when I was 72. I stood by the water and thought, so this is what it's like. He made breakfast every single morning, eggs and tomatoes. At first I thought, is this the only thing he can cook? But then I realized I woke up every day looking forward to the sound of him rattling the pans in the kitchen. It just felt right. When I was sick, he just sat by my side and held my hand. In 35 years, George had never done that once. We argued sometimes, but we made up fast. We both knew we didn't have time to waste on being angry. Life was for living. Eventually, the kids admitted John was a wonderful man. My daughter even grew to love him. Meanwhile, my friend Martha, who had judged me so harshly, lived the rest of her life alone, always saying, at my age, you don't look for someone. So she didn't look, and she didn't find. When John died, it hurt. But it was a different kind of pain than when George died. With George, it was a void, because the void was already there. With John, it was a real, sharp ache, because it was a real, deep love. I would rather lose something real 10 times over than spend my life protecting myself from the pain of loss. That kind of pain is honest. It tells you that something mattered. I'm 89 now. I live alone again, but it's different. Something in me changed forever. I still know how to be happy. I notice the blue sky and the taste of a good apple. He gave that back to me. Or maybe I gave it back to myself when I decided not to listen to the people saying it's too late. So if you're 60, 70, or 80, it's not too late. It's only too late when you decide it is and sit down to wait for the end. People will say, people your age don't do that. Ask them, who made that rule? There is no such book. There is only other people's fear disguised as common sense. Living your life isn't selfish. It's your right. This was Ann Miller. I'm 89, I've been married twice, and I don't regret a single day. Goodbye.